Hello, this is Bharat Ram Manoharan from www.techopskills.com. Um, so in this video, I'm going to teach you some basic Unix commands, and what you require for learning these commands is a virtual box software and a pre-built VM that is imported into the virtual box, and I have um, created a video which describes the installation of VirtualBox and the pre-built VM part in detail, uh, and it's available on my website www.techopskills.com, and please look for this post called how to install Oracle VirtualBox. Okay, so once you go through this video and have your own Linux environment up and running, you can come to this video and practice the commands I'm going to teach you. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to get started on the lesson. Okay, so once you start up your virtual machine, it's going to look like this, and I have logged in as Oracle user. So okay, so we need a terminal to practice our Unix commands. So I'm gonna go here and double click on this. So this opens a terminal. Terminal is like a command prompt in Windows. So this is where you run your shell commands. A shell is basically an interpreter that basically interprets your commands and then executes the tasks with the help of operating system. Okay, so there's basically many kinds of shells. There's bash, there's ksh, there's csh, and so on. So if you want to know which shell that you are currently on, you can just type ps, and that will show you what kind of shell you are currently working on. Right now it is bash. Okay, so this is the shell that we are going to be learning in this video, and if you are interested in other kinds of shells, then you can basically use the same commands, or you can find the equivalent ones on Google. They're not going to be much different. Okay, so okay, the first command that I want to show you is pwd. Pwd means present working directory. So when you log into Windows, you land on a desktop. Similarly, if you are in a Linux environment and you open a terminal, or let's say you log in as Oracle user into a Linux environment, you will land on your home directory. So basically for us, the home directory is /home/Oracle. If you want, you can also run this command to find what your home directory is. So okay, so let's keep going. So the directory is basically like a folder in Windows, but it's a little bit different. So the way you explore directories is by using ls commands. So if you type ls, that will list all the files and directories in the current directory. If you want to look inside a particular directory, then you can say ls/home/oracle, and let's say you want to look into bin directory. That's how it looks. And if you want to know some details about these files and directories, you can type ls-l. That will give you a long list of these files and directories. Basically what that means is it will show you the date, the time at which these files and directories were modified last, and so this first column actually is very important. So the first column contains 10 digits, and in the first letter actually shows you whether it's a directory or a file. So if it contains D in the first position, that means it's a directory. If it doesn't contain anything, like here, it's actually a file. So the other letters in this string basically dictates the permissions the users of this server have on the files. Basically, R means read, W means write, X means execute. And the first three letters are for the user or the owner of this file or directory. The second three letters are for the members of the group that owns this file. In this case, Oracle is the owner of this directory, and oinstall is actually the group that owns this directory. So if you are an Oracle user, or if you are the Oracle user, then you get all these permissions like read, write, and execute permissions for the files in this directory. If you are just a member of the group that owns the file, then you get read and execute permission. If you are anyone else, you don't get any privilege at all on this directory. Okay, and in a bit actually I'll show you how to change the permissions on files and directories. Okay, so we know what the first column is. First column basically shows you whether it's a file or a directory, and it shows you the permissions users have on these files and directories. And the second column is basically the number of links in that directory. So links are slightly advanced concepts, so let's not go much into the details of it. Okay, so moving on. So, and you know that this is actually the owner of this file, and this is actually the group that owns this directory, or in this case it's a file. The next column is actually the size of the file actually. So in some cases actually for directories, I've always noticed that it doesn't show you the actual size. The file size is basically precise in almost all the cases. I should say all the cases. So this file, the size of this file is 192 bytes. The size of this file is around 279 kilobytes. 279 kilobytes. So the size of this file is 407 bytes. So all these numbers are in bytes. So a slight variation of this command basically shows you the file sizes. ls minus lh shows you the file sizes in the highest unit possible for that particular file or directory. So in this case, earlier it was showing in bytes. Now you can see that this is showing in kilobytes. Okay, so the next column, or the next three columns, basically show you the timestamp at which these files were modified last time. So, or I should say, this is the last updated time or last modified time of these files. For example, if you take this file was modified last at on August 6, 2014. Okay. So now the last column is obviously the file name or the directory name, and when you execute ls minus l commands, the output is automatically ordered by the name of the file. So if you want to actually reverse the ordering, you can include r in the command, and that actually reverses the order of the files, as you can see. And if you want to order by time at which these files were modified, then you execute ls minus lht. So that basically means these files are ordered in a chronological way, basically, right? So as you can see, the most recently modified file is in the top, and the file which was modified too long ago, or very at the earliest, actually it was it's in the bottom actually. So that's in the reverse chronological way. So if you want to reverse that also, then you can include r in this command too. So then again you get the same output, but in the reverse order. Basically you'll be able to see the last modified file, or the file that was modified lastly at the end of the output actually. Okay, so those are the ls commands. Now I want to show you how to actually move between the directories, or should I say move from one directory to another. So let's say I want to change my current directory to, let's say, bin directory. Okay, so my current directory is /home/oracle, so that's my home directory. And if I type cd bin, now I'm in the /home/oracle/bin directory. Okay, so if I want to just go back one level, I can type cd ... In Unix and Linux worlds, dot basically means the current directory, and ... is basically the previous, or the directory that is one level up. Okay, now I can also provide the full path of the directories by the cd command. So cd means change directory. So change directory to /home/oracle/bin. Then you will go to that particular directory. Okay. So now let's see. Okay. So we have seen how to explore a directory. We've seen how to find out details about directories or files. We have seen how to navigate from one directory to another. And now actually let's see how to view the contents of a file. Okay, so let's go back to our home directory, right? So now here you can see, let's actually take this file. Okay, let's actually take a very small file for our convenience. Okay, now this file, if I just want to quickly view the contents of it, I can type cat and the file name. Basically that will just print the contents of the file in the screen. If I want to, if you're looking into a large file, for example, let's say this HTML file is 273 kilobytes. So if I want to just look into this file, I can use more and the file name. Okay, so now that will show you the contents of the file, and then now it's just showing you the first few lines of the file. If you keep hitting the space bar, it will take you to take you through the whole file actually. Okay, at any moment if you want to come out of the more command, you can hit Control-C. That will bring you out. Okay, now there's a less command which acts, or which basically works the same way. Let's do that also. Less. Okay, it's pretty much the same. So this time actually what I did was I hit the colon and then hit Q. Basically you can also do that to quit out of a file. Let's see that again, colon Q. Okay, now somewhat more important command is vi. Basically if you hit vi and then the name of the file, you will actually get into vi editor. So vi editor is very popular Unix editor, and you can do a lot of things with it. It's much more powerful than our Notepad or many text editors. So for example, you can actually run set nu, that actually shows you the line numbers. Okay, and if you want to go to a particular line, let's say I want to go to line 200, I can just type colon 200. That will take me to that line. And if you want to go to the end of the file, you can type colon $. That will take you to the end of the file. And if you want to go to the first line, again it's colon 0 or colon 1. Now if I want to, so vi editor itself is a is a huge thing, and maybe if you guys are interested, I can make a video about that separately. But for now, you can also use VI editor to check out the contents of a file. Okay, and the way you quit out of VI editor is by using the same command, like :q. Okay, so let's keep moving on. Okay, now I want to show you how to change the file permissions. So let's go back to that particular file, which is ls-l and the file name. So now you already know the first position, the first letter in the string tells us whether it's a directory or a file. We know that this is a file because it doesn't have the D in the first position, and the first three letters is basically the permissions of the user that owns this file, and the next three letters are the permissions for the group. In this case it's O install group, and the last three letters are the permissions for everyone else. Okay, so now first of all, if I want to change the if I want to actually find out what I am logged in as, you can just type ID, and that actually shows you the user you're logged in as and what groups you're part of. Okay, so let's say I want to change the group that owns this file to DBA, right? The current group that can access this file is O install. If I want to change to DBA, this is how you do it: ch change ownership, and I want to keep the user the same. I want to actually change to DBA group and the file name. So now let's actually do this. So now actually we have changed the group that owns this file, or group that can access this file, is DBA. So we have changed it from O install to DBA basically. Okay, so if you want to change the permissions, then you have to learn a simple formula. Okay, so let's deconstruct this, the permissions. Okay, so the first letter, obviously we know it's going to be D or nothing, so let's not worry about that. Okay, so, and I'm going to give you some values for each of these access types actually. So for read access, the value is 4. For write access, the value is 2, and execute access, the value is 1. Okay, so if I say you have access, you're basically, if you say I'm gonna give 7 to the user, and I'm gonna give 4 to the group, and I'm gonna give nothing basically, so it's either 0 or nothing basically. Okay, so if you give nothing to the to other people, basically people who are either not the user who owns the file, or who the people who are not part of the group that owns the file. Okay, so I'm going to give a 7 for the user, 4 for the group, and 0 for others. Okay, so what that means is I'm giving read, write, execute. 4 plus 2 plus 1, 7. I'm giving all kinds of access to the user, and I'm giving read-only access to the group, and I'm not giving any access to the other people. Okay, so let's see how this plays out. Okay, so I want to change the permission. For that, actually the command is chmod, modify the permission, basically chmod, and I want to give 740 to this file. So what that means is, as you wanted, we now have read, write, execute permission for the user, and the read only permission for the group, and no access for other people. Okay, and if I want to revert to the previous level of permissions, now how would you do this? Basically, I want to give 6, which is 4 is a read for reads value, and 2 is writes value. So 4 plus 2, 6. I want to give 6 to the user, I want to give 4 to the group, and I want to give 4 to everyone else. So if I type chmod 644 in the file name, that actually changes the file permission back to how it was. Okay, all right. Okay, so suppose you want to change the file permissions of a directory, right? You can do the same thing, chmod 644 and the directory name, right? Like if you want to do like 755, which is read, write, execute for the user, read and execute for the group, and read and execute for everyone else. If I want to give 755 to everyone in bin directory, this is how to the bin directory, this is how I would do it. And if I want to actually also modify the files inside bin directory, I would do chmod minus uppercase R. So what that does is basically it will go and change the files, the permissions of files and subdirectories inside bin directory. I don't want to do that, I just want to show that to you. Okay, so you can also include R in your the uppercase R in your ls minus l commands, or ls command itself. Actually, that will basically explore your directory, the directory that you're interested in a recursive way. Basically, it will show the directories, subdirectories, the files under the subdirectories under that, and so on. Okay, all right. Okay, now a few more commands. Suppose you want to quickly create a file, but you don't want to you don't really want to write anything to it, you just want to create a file. Okay, so in that case you can use the command touch. So touch will immediately create a file with the file name you give with the touch command. Okay, so, and if you want to make a copy of a file, you can type cp command copy A to B. So now this creates two files, which is this creates a file called B, and which is a copy of A. So that's the cp command. Okay, if I want to remove or delete a file, then it's rmp. That's for removing a file or deleting a file. If I want to remove a directory, then there's two options actually. If you know the directory is empty, first let's create a directory. The way you create a directory is by using mkdir, make dir. Let's say test directory, and now we know that actually this directory is new and it doesn't contain any files, so I can use a command called rmdir test_dir. So that actually removes the directory. So if you create a directory and create some files under it, so now the test directory contains the file with the file name A, and if I issue rmdir test_dir, that's going to fail. Okay, so in that case you will use something called rm -rf and the directory name. Okay, so that's how you remove a directory with files or subdirectories under it. Okay, so what this command does is it will basically recursively delete the files and subdirectories under the directory. Okay, all right. Now, so let's create another file, and then I want to just rename the file. So in that case I will use mv command. Mv is for moving or renaming a file. So if I want to just make the file make the name of the file with the name A, and I want to make the name B, basically I want to rename the file from A to B, this is the command I would use, mv ab. Okay, and if I want to move the file itself to a different directory, then that's how you do it. So we just moved the file which is in the current directory to bin directory, and you can also give the entire path in the rm command for removing files. So we have renamed the file, that's why it's saying the file doesn't exist. Okay, okay, we have looked at all these commands. Now let's look at slightly more important commands. So the first command I want to show you there is grep command. Okay, so if you have a file, a huge file, let's take the same HTML file as an example. If I want to search this file for a particular word or phrase, I can use grep, and I want to search for the letter the, and I want to search in this HTML file. Okay, so now what that does is actually it fetches all the lines in the file which contains the letter which contains the word the, like you can see. So this line contains the, and pretty much every, I'm very sure that all these lines contain the somewhere. Okay, so that's how you search for a particular word in the directory. So you can also include some phrases like this one. If I want to just grep for this particular phrase, we can do it. If I want to grep for this particular phrase, then that brings only that line from that HTML file to your output screen. Okay, all right, so that's the grep. You can make it case insensitive by including -i. Okay, what that means is the word that you're looking for can be in any case actually. So you're making your search case insensitive. Okay, so now the next one is actually awk. Actually this awk is a very powerful utility, and let's actually see one use case. So this is a long list of files command that we saw before. If I want to just get the column 1 of this output, so you're going to learn two things here. One is how to forward the output of one command to another command basically. So now you're executing ls-l command here, and the output of that is being directed to this awk command using this pipe. So this pipe will be on your keyboard above the backward slash symbol. So let's run that command. So what this has done is basically run ls-l command and gotten the output, and the output is forwarded to the awk command, which fetched only the column 1, the first column of the output, and then directed the output to our screen. So if I want to get the second column, it's $2 here. If I want to do column 8 or column 9, that should give us the file name. If I want to do a couple of columns, you can do that too. So $1 and $9, so that gives you both the columns. If you want to include some strings in between, you can do that like this. Okay, now I've included a space between column 1 and column 9, right? Okay, so that's about that. So let's see what else we have actually. So the you can also use pipe multiple times in a single command. So we are forwarding the output of ls-l to awk, and let's forward the output of this awk command to another command, let's say grep. So I want to grep only this particular word from that output. So now that shows you only that particular line. So you can have any number of pipes in a command, and it's just up to your creativity. Okay, so now so let's actually look into this command called find. So suppose you are in your home directory and you want to look for a file. Okay, so and you don't know where it is located. So what we are going to do is we're going to type find, and then we're going to type where the location where you want to start the search from. Okay, I want to start the search from Oracle, home Oracle, that's our home directory. If you want to search inside the bin directory, that's how you change it, or you can use this dot which represents the current directory. Okay, and I want to search for file with name, file with this sh. So this is actually a regular expression. Basically what this means is you are searching for a file that starts with sh. Okay, so now basically this command has searched the current directory and it's showing you the result of the search. So now all these basically the dot means current directory, and under the current directory, under dot genome 2 directory, there is a file called share, and under the current directory, we know this, there is a file called shrept.lst, and so on. So I want to show you one more thing which I forgot to show you before. Basically, you can create hidden files in a directory by including a dot in the front. Okay, so if you want to create something like this, it's a hidden file. So basically that won't be visible when you do ls-l. You would have to do ls-al to basically see the hidden files in that directory. Okay, and you can work with the hidden files in the same way. Okay, so if you want to, let's say you create a file and with no contents, and you want to put some contents in it, like you want to actually type something in the file, you can do that. And you can basically, for that I used vi space the file name, and I got into the file and I started typing the contents, and if I do :w, that saves the file, :q exits out of the file. Okay, now the file contains the text that you typed in the file actually. Okay, so okay, so now the find command also has a lot of variations. You can look for a file older than a couple of days by using actually let me show you that. So right now we are in our home directory, and in our home directory I want to actually